And I know when I hear things, a lot of times I'm like, ooh, that person needs to hear this. Or that person comes to my mind, I'm like, man, I wish they were here hearing this. Well, guess what? They're not, you are. He says, answer me, O Lord, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Lord, are God, and that you have turned their hearts back. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and said, the Lord, he is God, the Lord, he is God. It took Elijah being uncomfortable. It took him being obedient. And it took him going up and confronting these people so that a people would turn back. If Elijah never would have went, and if he never was obedient, and if he never was uncomfortable, this whole nation would have remained doomed. I mean, I just sit here and think, how many times was I disobedient? How many times was I just comfortable not doing that, or I didn't want to do something God told me to do because it was going to affect my image or how I looked, and that people never experienced the fire from heaven that would purify their soul, that eventually would bring the rain in their life? How many people have I affected because I wasn't obedient, because I was too good being comfortable? The obedience you have and the decisions you choose to make have the ability to let others experience the fire called down from heaven, the fire that burns away anything that has been presented to another god. The fire represents purification. This fire that came down from heaven is the purifying work of God's Spirit in our lives. It represents the transformative power of God's presence, burning away any impurities, false beliefs, idolatrous tendencies within us, and igniting a passionate pursuit of righteousness and true worship. That is what the fire represents. It consumes. God is a jealous God, and he is a consuming fire. And he is consuming everything that has you not in his presence. He is consuming anything that is in the way of the relationship between you and him, or between him and his people. He wants to use you as that prophet that goes and confronts, not in some ugly way, but goes and confronts the things in your own life. It starts with our own life, not in somebody else's life. I know when you hear this story, and I know when I hear things, a lot of times I'm like, ooh, that person needs to hear this. Or that person comes to my mind, I'm like, man, I wish they were here hearing this. Well, guess what? They're not, you are. So take this for yourselves. How can you examine yourself and realize what needs to be burned up and offered and sacrificed? Ask yourself that.